Welcome to the Vault Excel. Thank you for your time. Hope you all are well. Woo, mercy. What a rough day the Queen has had today. But God is good, and He has favored me. I'm doing this live tonight pertaining to the day trip yesterday with Sue, who came down from Illinois, and we went up to the home of Summer Wells. And what I noticed about the demographic, naturally rough terrain, broke up road. The road wasn't paved thoroughly. One way in, another car couldn't pass you. And the first thing came to mind is that a stranger didn't wander onto this street road. It's the first thing came to mind. Once I saw that there was only one car that can go in, I already knew. Nobody came. Nowhere to park your car. Okay, this isn't the city. There's no parking spaces. It's just gravel going into a drop off on either side. So it's too risky to sit there. If you understand what I'm saying, you have to be there to understand it. That's the first thing I thought. That's why in that short, you see me step away and pan the car and then pan back to the bench. It was to make sense of what hasn't made any sense, which is nobody came up there. If somebody came up there, it was somebody that was affiliated with the family. I'll say that. But it wasn't some random person riding around, bored, child molester, pedophile, saying, I'm just going to ride this dirt road into the abyss to look for me a victim. When we already know that's not a place you would go to find a victim if you are into children, pedophilia, okay? If you do your homework, you already know pedophiles go in places where they can find their prey. The wilderness is for basically animals, okay? Just keeping it real. So I wouldn't see a pedophile wandering in that area unless he or she knew their prey would be accessible. So make it make sense. I do believe there's foul play pertaining to Summer Wells. I do believe her parents have knowledge to where she is. Exactly what happened with her and the parents, if both are involved, I think both have knowledge. Was it a collusion in the beginning, orchestrated to get rid of her, either by homicide, selling of a child, trafficking a child? I don't know. Loaning the child out? I don't know. Some of you believe that. I always stick to just basic stats, which the FBI has shown us at least 500 children are murdered by their parents each year. So as I said so many times in my live streams, I don't know why it would be a shock to anybody that these two heathens or one of these heathens could not have unalived their child. Why would you think they wouldn't? You don't know them. Just like you don't know the other 500 children who are murdered each year. You didn't know them. You didn't know their parents. And naturally, there'd be some people who would say, oh, he would never do that. She would never do that. Why not? Why would you think that? Because one, you don't know these people. And what we've seen from them, as someone just commented on my channel, after the way the father acted and talked, why would I think this person, one, is a good role model, mother as well, and think they wouldn't do something to harm their children? The children were at risk anyway. That's obvious. And as I said to Sue yesterday on the trip, everybody that was involved in each other were evenly yoked. If you look at how all these people act, talk that you have seen pertaining to Summer Wells, people coming out to speak, all these he said, she said stories and things, they're all similar. That's why they navigated to one another. Just a bunch of hee-hawing ass folks that have nothing to do, had no life, no goals in life. And if you notice that, a lot of people, they emulate other people because that's what they do. They flock towards people who are similar to them. That's why the people who were in their midst were all the same. I said that about Allie. I'll say it about her now, God rest her soul. They were the same. She had issues with her children running away, son getting in trouble and acting out, wanting to be a gangbanger, these type of things. They all are similar. That's why they navigated. See, that's what you always have to remember. All these people who were hanging with each other, friends, associates, dating each other, sleeping with each other, they were similar. Something drew them to each other. All of these people, everybody that was on that hill that's ever come to YouTube to talk, you're all the same to me. You're similar to one another. That's why you had conversations, and God knows what else you were doing behind closed doors that we don't know about. So you don't really know what was going on back there on that dirt road. But I can tell you from what I saw, it's desolate. It's desolate. And the only reason why you would be back there is if you know someone back there. I mean, it's not even a place you just go. So as I would say, to go get high, as Mr. Wells had precluded once on a live about people coming back there to get high. Why would I want to go get high on a dirt road going one way in at the bottom of someone's driveway? For what? There are other areas out there that you could take that go into the woods where nobody's actually living, and then just go park your car and truck and, hit you a bump of cocaine or whatever. Queen's not a dodo bird. I've been woke for a mighty long time. And I didn't get to 54 by accident. I'm not getting to go park at the edge of somebody's driveway to hit some meth or fentanyl. For what? Where I can be seen. So now that I've been back there and see it for myself, the way the streets are made, it's narrow. As I said, one way in, basically. Nobody's going there to park to do anything, to sit, to wait for a kid that you don't know anything about, to get high on drugs. I don't believe that. And I think Mr. Lawson told you that about people back there getting high. As he said, no more than anywhere else, the people are getting high. All that land out there, I don't know how much of it he owns in acreage, but when you look from where the shed is to going around the corner up to his house and the area view we've seen with drone footage, it's a little piece of land. And I can't see the children wandering into the woods to play. Just from the view from the street, I just can't see it, because you're talking about high brush and none of that's cut. So you always got to remember that. You're talking about woods. It's woods. Why would children want to go in there to play? For what? Then you got to think about poison ivy. See, those are the things that nobody thinks about. You don't wander into the woods for that very reason. One, a bear, any type of wildlife that's big, like a coyote, something like that. Getting poison ivy, poison oak. You're in the woods. So what food would tell their kid, yeah, go run in there and play so you can come back with poison ivy oak. Stay woke, everybody. See, ain't nobody woke. You all kept going on and on and on, talking about this and that, listening to these people talk about the wandering and the little girl wandering down here and there. If you stood there from the street and you can't see nothing, you have to use common sense. Well, where would a child be wandering in this? It's the woods. It's not paved grass. Okay? Every demographic's got a different type of woods, such as Northern California. Those woods are not made like Tennessee woods. Our woods is filled with brush all the way up to the sky, trees. The woods in Northern California, you can see through those trees. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not made the same. So I have to use deduction with what I saw and living here in East Tennessee. Ain't nobody playing in the woods. And then they say she would stay close to the house. She knew not to wander. So why on this faithful day I'm supposed to believe she wandered in there and played? The kids wandered. The key to this story are the boys. One of them is about grown now. He should be about 17 years of age, the oldest boy, who was 13 at the time. Next month will mark 4 years that the child disappeared, allegedly, June 15th. So that child will be at least 17 years of age or turning 18. So he and those other kids hold the key to if the child returned home. As I said to somebody on the channel tonight, commenting. Those kids know if they saw their sister. And I would love to hear from those kids. I would love for somebody to bring us a testimony. What the children said. Did they see their sister return home? Because if they said, no, I never saw my sister that afternoon, that evening, then there is your smoking gun that the child never made it home to Ben Hill Road. Checkmate. If they say, yes, we saw her, but at some point we didn't see her, then you can go from there. But if they said, we got up, rummaged around, Candace came home with Grandis, we never saw our sister, then there's your smoking gun. The child never made it from the Kingsport visit. The clothes in the car, You can argue that 1,000 ways. I find it strange putting on a new outfit to a child just because she says she's cold coming out the water. What she did from that part, don't know. See, that's the whole point. You don't know. You don't even know if she made it home. You don't know what was really going on with these people. DHS conversations, they were coming out of house, this, that, and the other. I have to have proof of something. Not he said, she said. Bring me a receipt. They were investigating or they weren't. They were investigating or they weren't. And anybody with sense know you don't get a child gone if you're being investigated. But then you have to think, fools don't think. So a stupid fool would get a child gone just so they could hide the abuse if there was allegations of abuse. And as I told Sue yesterday, you all would have never known that Don could be the type to continue molesting children had Mary never came to YouTube and spoke. Stay woke. Because that's the whole point. Out of sight is out of mind. You only know what's been told to you. So it's up to you to decide, this teenager still wanting to touch young girls, would he still be doing it as an adult past the age of 19? Is that Don Wells? But one thing we do know for sure, between he and Candace, they cannot keep children in their possession. They have proven that with their previous relationships with their children. And then the universe brought them together to walk down that same road with Summer and her brothers. The fact they didn't fight for their boy children shows you they never cared for their children. Such as that bench sitting out there with dead flowers, as Sue was talking about. I didn't really want to say anything. I wanted to give my opinion later. I won't doubt the bench was donated. Checkmate. Because if you don't care about your house, you don't care about your property, you don't care about your children, you wouldn't care to go buy a bench. I pay attention to everything. You don't care about how you look. You don't care about combing your hair, sleeping in church, not even wearing appropriate attire to church. You don't care about going to Walmart and buying a $70, $80 bench. Don't even think to put fake flowers in a vase from the Dollar Tree. Stay woke. Blue bin out there that says packages. Very trashy looking and just redneck to me. Ridiculous. But perhaps they put that big bin there because they didn't want to risk somebody trying to drive up the drive, such as UPS, FedEx. They want to tear up their truck trying to go up that drive, but yet they make it up the drive all the time because they drive up there with trucks, SUVs. But you understand what I'm saying. We'll put a bin down here for you nice people that want to donate or send packages or things we order from Amazon. Just put it in this plastic bin with the word packages on it. I spoke to an older gentleman up the road. I didn't pull out the camera because I didn't want to be invasive. But an older man backed his truck up when he saw Sue and I sitting on the side trying to decide, which direction to go in. And I asked him a question eventually, we got down to the nitty gritty. And I asked, Sue asked, what did he think about the Summer Wells case? And I was kind of nervous because I didn't know how he was going to react. But he just told the truth. His truth. He felt like the child was trafficked. He does not feel like anybody went back there to kidnap her. He obviously lives back there in that general area, not too far from where we were. And he says nobody came back in these parts looking for her or any of those children. And see, that's the whole point about living somewhere. You learn people. Just like you learn people when you deal with people. And when you live in a place like back in there where they live, you can use common sense to know nobody just ran back in there looking for a kid. Because first of all, you have to know that a kid stays back there. Checkmate. You can't even see the houses from the road. So how would you know a child is back there? A girl, a boy. Also, the child's head was shaved. So that means she would look like a boy. So that means that somebody was eyeing her and followed Candace home or was lying in wait. That means they wanted a boy child. Pay attention. This nonsense about utility workers could have been involved. You can't even see anything, for God's sake. Yeah, if you're up high on a pole in those little swing buckets, but then how would you get to the kid? Pay attention. How would you get to her if she was supposed to be inside of her house? You don't know who's there. You don't know who's on the property. Make it make sense. Foul play. Do not believe the child's alive. Believe the parents have knowledge of the disappearance of Summer Wells. The key are the brothers. As I told somebody, I can't see the DA not making an arrest, indictment, if they knew that the child never made it home. That's your smoking gun to bring an arrest. She never made it home. Your children say she never made it home. Well, then where is she if she was with you all day? So I don't know what the hell's going on with this case, the investigation. I'm not here to blame this Hawkins County jurisdiction for any, nefarious business or collusion. I'm just praying they've got a little something, but they need more in their eye. Doesn't mean I have to agree. What they have, I don't know. But the fact that they went back in that general area searching when it was cold, that told me something. That perhaps the child is discarded back there in that general area of Beach Creek, which means she did make it home. Or she made it to that area, either already unalive or unalive when she got home and then taken back out to be discarded. That's my commentary. Welcome to the Vault Excel. Welcome, Sue. How are you today?
I'm good. Can you hear
So,
me?
yes, I can hear you. Give me your take on when you got out of the car and saw the terrain and the area of the home.
Oh, it's just filled with trees, and there's no way somebody came up there and got that little child.
Mm-hmm.
I've been up there. It's been 4 years now that Summer's been missing, and I've started from the beginning. I live in Chicago, and I noticed on YouTube that there was a little girl missing from Rogersville, and I have a friend that lives not far from there. That's how I got connected with the little Summerwells case. And from day one, every time I go up there, there's no way. It convinced me there's no way somebody came up there and took her. There, I'm sad to say this, but I feel, and I may be wrong, I think she was trafficked, sold
Why?
somewhere.
Why?
I don't know, just a different situations. I don't think it was an accident. Um, I was, I don't know. I don't know. I
No,
would
you
love.
tell me. You tell me why you think this child was trafficked.
Well, just I can't answer it. I guess I'm so sorry.
I mean, a lot of people throw that out, but I am the type, I like a person to give me an explanation. Why? Why would a person just think that? Why would you think this child was trafficked? Why her? You
I
got
don't
four
know.
kids. Why her?
Well, I think she was trafficked. I think Candace and Don, for sure, Candace was trafficking her out.
Mhm. So you
Something
think
went
that they
wrong.
were what, loading her out
Yes,
for money?
and yes, and I think something went bad.
Like they couldn't return her.
Yeah,
Okay, so if they couldn't return her,
or they never did return her.
okay, so if they didn't return her, then why would the police be looking back there in that Beach Creek community 2 times?
I know. I get torn sometimes. I mean, sometimes I think it was an accident
Mm-hmm.
at the swimming hole.
Uh-huh. So you
Mm,
had
I
an
could,
issue with her in the car asking me if I thought she was alive or dead, which I said I couldn't answer.
I can't answer that either. It's just, she sure looked different in there, and she's had that outfit on that. in that heat and propped up on those milk jugs. There was something was going on. If that's the same day that picture was taken,
Right. Because that's been a question too, that the child possibly was gone beforehand. That means the boy would have to have been lying, and that means Allie would have to be lying.
yes. But it's coming up 4 years. I hope TBI. I'm hoping they can come out and say something. Give us a little something more. Um,
So you don't think it was an accident with the children? Boys roughhousing, hurt her?
it could be too.
Mm, okay.
I mean, I don't know. As far as this being sold, I just feel that way. I just
Mhm.
more than an accident.
Well, do you believe Don actually went to work? Because there's a conversation where Hunter was asking her a question. Remember when they were in the car and he was asking her questions about why Don was calling or something? And it almost made me think that maybe Don wasn't at work.
I don't think Don was at work at all.
Okay. Yeah. Because remember Hunter was asking her something about why he was calling or something?
Yeah.
And she was telling him to be quiet. So basically, she didn't want him to know she was in the company of a 15-year-old boy, which to me is suspect. So all that is strange, which, you can weigh it a multitude of ways. How much Don knew, was it all Candace? Because for her not to want him to hear Hunter in the background, that speaks volumes to me. That makes me think that this was orchestrated. So that's why I would say you have to go back to the beginning. You always
Yeah.
start at the beginning of a story because that is where the truth is. The truth is the moment she left her house with the little girl and popped up at a person's house that she's not even talking to. This is why I was telling people to pay attention. See, it's easy to throw out all these theories, but you got to pay attention to what has already happened that's facts. She went to these people's house who she's not even talking to. That doesn't make any sense. You don't go to somebody's house that you don't speak to. You just show up there with a kid. She changes into a bathing suit at their house. None of that made any sense to me. And that's where the truth is right there.
Yeah.
When she first gets to Kingsport. All that appears orchestrated because we already know when people fall out with people, they don't show up to their house unless they want to talk and try to reconcile whatever happened. You never hear that in the conversation. That Candace went there to reconcile with Allie. Allie was asleep. So why are you going to pick up a 15-year-old boy to ride around with you to fool with your mother who's at the hospital? You're bored. Well, sit at the hospital and wait on your mother like a normal adult.
Yep. Or she was needing an alibi. I don't know. A lot of puzzling. But hopefully, like I say, if TBI comes up with some more news for us, make us understand a little bit more.
Yeah, because it's 4 years, and I hate to look up and we're still talking about this case 10 years from now, 20 years from now. You know what I mean? It's like you don't have a lot of heavy investigations in that general area. So, really, this should be a primary focus unless you get another big case. There's no reason why, with TBI helping, they shouldn't have something. Unless these people were so clever, they didn't leave anything behind as far as text messaging, GPS, camera footage, trail camera footage, which could be the case.
Could be.
Hmm.
I don't, well, like I say, I just want her found and justice for her, and I'll probably be with this case until something comes up.
Do you believe the child is
Resolve.
alive? Do you
No,
believe she's alive?
no,
Okay.
I don't think she is.
Do you believe she's in that area discarded?
Yeah, sometimes I do think she is, but
Well, if she's discarded in that
DBI.
area, then that means her. If you believe in human trafficking theory, then that means the abductor, not the abductor, but the person who got her. That means he's from that area too. If he discarded her back there.
I don't know. I do think there's more people involved than just Don and Candace.
Well, interesting.
But this just how I felt for a long time. I just thought it was an accident, and then as time went on, I changed.
And how long into the case did you change your mind?
Mm, I don't know, maybe halfway. Trying to think when I did exactly.
Was it by winter time?
Yes. So
So much land around there, they could put her anywhere you wouldn't find her.
I mean, if they hit her pretty good. So I still think, and I may be wrong, but
But
I
what did
think
I tell you? But what did I tell you about the terrain of where we were? You really wouldn't have to go way deep to hide about it.
yeah,
Because if you smell something riding by, you're not going to stop anyway because you're in rural America. You would just think it's roadkill. And a lot of
yeah,
people are discarded in plain sight. We've seen that time and time again.
yeah.
She could be right in front of you, but you're not going to be able to know that because you're in high grass.
But all that technology and TBI and EquiSearch and
Dogs.
all all this, and they couldn't find her. I
See, we
remember.
don't we don't even know what time she actually made it back to the house.
No, we're going by what
What
people are
she
saying,
said. What
what they
she
were.
said.
Yeah,
There's nobody to verify anything except for those kids.
yep,
And naturally, they're never going to tell us what those kids said. But I always think back to the Cal City case. The Cal City kids are the reasons that the mother and father got indicted because they told the truth. We left Bakersfield with one kid. One of those kids did not travel with us. So there's your smoking gun, number one. Number two, one night I heard a thud, and then the other kid, we never saw him again. That's smoking gun number two. So that's how the police knew that the two children were gone. One never made it to Cal City, and one died while at Cal City, while they were living in that new house. So that's why I said there's no big deal about the ages of the children giving information to the police. Because if you say, well, I never saw my sister when my mom came home, then that's your recollection. So then if another child says the same thing, well, no, I didn't notice my sister returning or I didn't see her playing, then wouldn't they be wondering, well, where's my sister? So then you got to think, well, did they ask the mother if this is true? Well, where's Summer? Well, did she tell them? See what I'm saying? And then two, if you try to make the children lie, there's always going to be that one that's going to stumble and not hold to the script.
yeah. Not
It's
all.
hard to get a bunch of children to keep the same lie.
No, it is, especially the youngest one. But trying to think how Candace said that, and that was another thing that always. She made a comment like nobody would ever hurt her if I was around or
Yeah,
treat her that
yeah.
ever.
That's the subconscious talking.
Yeah, and that's when I thought something happened at that house.
Yeah. Okay, but think about that for a minute. Then where were you if something did happen? That means you stepped back out and went somewhere else.
Yeah, she left Summer because I remember Hunter saying, we didn't have Summer that whole day with us. Not until we picked up Summer. I can't remember where that was, but it's a 4 year.
Well, that wouldn't make no sense because he was in the car with her in summer up until he got dropped off. Remember?
Yeah, I can't remember where that was. Maybe I misunderstood it, but it's hard to keep up with all these players in this case, Jody Sue and Fred and
Yeah. So you don't know to believe those people either because you don't know them.
no. But I do feel there's more involved than just Donna Candace in this. A whole
Okay.
can of gonna open up if
Well,
they ever
HH.
figure it out. I think TBI don't knows what's happened, but they just don't have enough evidence right now. And this is what I'm hoping anyway.
Okay. So you believe she was human trafficked beforehand and something went wrong, possibly. So you don't think this has anything to do with an open investigation, that there were allegations that somebody was doing something to her, such as a parent, and then they got rid of her because they were worried about DHS showing up to their house. But one thing, like I've told people, DHS don't, I don't believe they tell you when they're coming. That don't really make sense for DHS to tell you when they're coming to your house. What would be the point of telling you when I'm coming?
Oh, do you hear that static?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Well, just go back out and come back in.
Okay, I'll try it.
Okay. Hello, everybody in the chat. Welcome to the Vault XL. I'm sitting here talking with Sue. We're just going over the visit from yesterday, out and about, uh, pertaining to Summer's home. And as I said, just being out there, it's just looking at the roads, looking at the homes, looking at the foliage. She could have been anywhere right in plain sight. But the one thing I can say for sure in my own heart, I don't believe a stranger got her. I just don't. It wouldn't be a stranger, it'd be somebody that knew her. And then you still got to say that the person had to known where to get the child, had to have been on the property, lurking about. How did he get out of there? He would have had to leave by car because I'm telling you, it's nothing but winding roads back there. You're not getting ready to carry that kid. You're not getting ready to ride with her on a bicycle and put her in a basket. Just keeping it real. Once you've seen what it looks like back there, you can eliminate certain theories. And kidnapping is one. Walking her out of there is another. I just don't see it. Just looking at the road, it was just baffling looking at the road. A broke up road just about as bad as the one to their driveway. Just sad. Two cars can't even come down a damn road. So I'm like, if you're going up, what about somebody coming down? How are you going to get over? I just thought, why would anybody want to live back in there like that? I forget that. It ain't got no yellow line in the middle. I don't want it. I just don't see the point.
Yeah.
But to each his own. But I wouldn't want to live back there like that. They ain't got no damn pavement and no yellow line in the middle of the road. It's because that's the whole point. It's just a mountain road. That's all it is. That's why I know nobody went back there looking for her, because it's not even a typical place to be looking for anything. It's just not. There's nothing back there because you don't even know what's back there. You pass somebody's driveway. You know what I'm saying? You pass a driveway. You don't even know what's up the drive unless you go up there. Could be nothing. Could be a barn. Could be a shed. Could be a burnt down house. You don't know until you get up there. And I just don't see anybody going up on private drive. And anybody knows when you live in places like this, in backwood America, you do not go up a private drive. I don't care if there's a sign posted that says keep out, trespassing. You don't need a sign. You know better. Country folks know better. You don't carry your ass up no damn barren road. Because you check in, you don't check out. No way. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Just a thought of looking around, riding the roads. where the child could be if she was discarded back in that part. Could be miles and miles out. You see how much driving we did last night? Just drove. She could be anywhere.
Nope.
She don't even have to be in Beach Creek. She could be in the next town over. See, this is why I keep telling everybody, you don't even know where Candace went after dropping off Hunter. You don't even have a time frame. You just got when a 911 call was made. That's all you have. And that was what? After 5 or 6 or something? When she made the 911 call?
You talking to me?
Oh, I'm talking to whoever.
Okay.
What time was the call made?
6 something.
Well, that's a long time from 9 something in the morning whenever she left Rogersville. And the fact that we didn't have no Wi-Fi back there, bingo card. So how the hell have you all been going live on YouTube? Help the queen understand. Because I couldn't get no coverage standing right there at your driveway to go live. I had to upload it from my phone.
Yeah, so did I. I couldn't even get it on my computer. On my
And we drove for miles before we could even get actual Wi-Fi coverage to where our phones work. So how have you all been going live from that house? I need somebody to talk to me because I'm confused. And then Don, you talked to her all the way up until getting out there, which, like I say, could have been true. But then when you get to a certain point, Beach Creek, that road right there that turns to the coverage would have stopped, I believe, or before then.
Yeah, what?
Vanna says 6:30ish. So you don't have no proof that the child ever made it to the house. The only people that know are those brothers and the TBI, whatever they found at that house. And she didn't have no type of life at that house, nor did the boys. When you see how they were living in that house, boys had an open room facing the front door, which is ridiculous. No privacy as a young boy. Then the daughter, her room was a concrete block. And basically, I think she slept with her parents, which at her age, she shouldn't have been still sleeping with her parents. But there are people who allow their children to sleep with them up, to 5, 6, or even older. Yes, it's very sad. It's all the possibilities of wondering what happened to her. The things you don't want to think about pertaining to children. Because in the end, there's no reason to murder a kid for any reason. But something terrible happened to this kid. I believe that. And just like I said, there's no care for the kid. Instead of you getting lice treatment for a child, let's say she had lice. Well, if you treat her hair, you wouldn't have to cut all her hair off. Then you went and said, oh, well, it was because she cut it. So we went on and evened it up and just shaved it all off. It makes no sense. Then I remember seeing something on Facebook. People were talking about around that time that there was this look that they had for girls that they were possibly could be trafficking. They wore their hair short on one side and long on the other. And I noticed a lot of pictures of young little girls with their hair like that, which was kind of odd to me. I don't know if that's any significance or not. But, I kind of dug into that a little bit, but I didn't really want to really form an opinion pertaining to that. It was some guy name they had mentioned, and they were saying that he was a possible sadist, and that a lot of girls who he had contact with, they had that same similar hairstyle that Summer had. I don't know. But anyway, she went from lopsided to no hair. And then a lot of us thought maybe she shaved her hair off so she could mimic a boy, because maybe that's what Candace wanted, was a boy and not a girl. See, you don't know. You don't know if it's because of lice or it's because she wanted to be cruel to the little girl, shave her hair off, or I don't know, but I know those opinions vary between Don, because you don't really know what to believe. Oh, she messed her hair up and she wants to look like Candace. Well, which is it? It can't be both. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then Candace said, "Oh, I cut my hair to be like her." Well, which one? It don't make no sense to me. But which one cut their hair first? See, you don't know. And when I think you're lying, I'm just not getting ready to dwell on what you have to say. Just like the news interview, all that extra putting on about a piece of candy and I called over to the house, all that's made up. Nobody talks like that when they're telling a story.
But that's true.
Yeah. And any detective will tell you that about a story. People don't talk like that when they tell a story. They just say, I got home, pulled the groceries out, the child went over to the grandmother's house, I went inside, then after that, I heard my mother calling me, I went over to the trailer to help my mother with a knee brace. That's how you tell a story. You don't do all that extra shit about a piece of candy. Come on. Nobody talks like that. Unless they're damn crazy. You know. Oh, we just wanted to get a box of chocolates. I only needed one peppermint. Come on. Nobody talks like that. Just like they said about the flowers. They weren't even real flowers.
No.
What? Were they plastic cactuses? Oh my God. And where's the grandmother? What do you think about her? She just jumped ship.
She ran off really fast.
Mm-hmm. Do you think she knows something, Sue?
I do.
So you think this woman would tell her own mother she hurt her child or sold her child or it was an accident?
No. I think she would.
Well, then that means they're all crazy then.
Well, Grandis was there too.
Well, up until they got home.
Yeah, and then she said she went and took a nap.
Right. After eating a box of chocolates.
Yeah.
You don't really know what to believe. So the Jody Sue scream, you don't believe that?
I guess I really don't, but they said TBI says it was unfounded.
Unfounded, right.
Unfounded. And somebody said that the timeline was off, but I heard TBI say that, so they don't think so.
Well, in the end, somebody's got to be believable to say what the timeline is, which is what exactly?
I don't know. I know bits and pieces, but the whole thing, I don't know.
Because even when Candace goes to the news and she's geeked up there, she still doesn't give the news reporter a timeline. She's stoned up or under the influence of something, and she can't even tell the story like a normal person, such as, I got up at 9 o'clock, 8:30. I got my child ready. We drove it to Kingsport. We stopped by this lady's house. We picked up her son. You don't hear any of that in that version to the news. Why not? Because I keep telling everybody, I will tell you what I want you to know. I told my friend one version, I told the police one version, and I told the news one version. Checkmate. Always remember that. That the version I tell the police ain't the version I told my sister or my brother. The version I told my brother ain't the version I told my neighbor. Because in every true crime story, you always hear one thing. Oh, they gave conflicting stories.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine how many stories they gave to TBI and Hawkins County Sheriff's Department. plus what the children told. What Hunter told, and what Allie told, and what Grandis told.
And what Don told. But
So you don't even know what they said to each different person in law enforcement. How many times they told a different version to law enforcement. That's how you get to the truth, you see. You separate everybody and you let them tell, hey, tell me how your day started. And I'm sure they asked the kids that.
Yeah, they tried to put it all together.
When did you talk to your parents? When did you see your parents? Did you see your parents leave? Did your father come home to work? Did he leave for work? Did he come home early? When did you see your sister? Do you remember the time? Do you remember what she was wearing? You know, they asked all those questions to those children. Why would they not ask them? Of course they did. And it's just like the mess down in Hendersonville. It's the same MO. The child is out all day with his mother, and poof, voila, he disappears the same night, allegedly returning home. Which, once again, that case, you have no proof that Sebastian made it home. So to me, they're both the same. You have no proof that Summer made it home. Fast forward years later, 15-year-old kid, you have no proof he made it home. And each had problems with allegedly DHS allegations. It's the same MO, except one kid's older than the other one, and one's a boy and one's a girl. And if I didn't know any better, the Proudfoots piggybacked off of some Will's case.
Yeah, a lot of similarities, for sure.
Sad. It's very sad.
Copycat.
Do you think the boys will ever talk to their parents when they're grown?
I don't know. I think maybe if one of them, I think the oldest one will.
Okay.
I don't know about the other two, but I don't know the kids.
I wonder if they're together still.
Well, that's what they say, that they're together.
Okay. Well, we don't really know.
No, like you say, that they say.
Yeah. And that's why I don't listen to that stuff, because all the day is coming from the Wells, and that to me don't count. Because I can't believe nothing these people say.
Oh no,
I can't believe anything that they say.
They were lying from day one.
From day one, exactly. So we learned that 6 weeks after she went missing, the children, the boys got removed from the state, which I find weird. So that makes me wonder that they didn't have anything at that time, the state, to remove the kids immediately after Summer went missing. And that's one thing that does happen with children, that even if one goes missing, they don't necessarily take your children unless they see or find something suspicious that points to you in the beginning. You know what I mean? To remove all of your children. But Don said something happened which he never told the world what really happened that made him call or whatever for them to come get the kids, which I believe that's a lie too. But anyway, I'm wondering what happened for them to come get the kids 6 weeks later.
I am too. I just remember TBI saying that the boys' case bleeds into Summerwell's case.
But 6 weeks later, that don't make no sense.
I know. I don't understand that, but I remember him saying, trying to think, what's he mean by that?
Right.
Bleeds into.
Interesting. Very interesting. Do you think the case will be solved?
Pardon me?
Do you think this case will be solved?
Got a long hesitation here. I'm not sure. I hope so.
Okay.
because I want Summer to have justice, but
Hmm.
I mean, there's cases that have never been solved.
Very true.
And they find out, there's some that have. But some of them took longer.
Right. And then a lot of times the people didn't do what they were supposed to do investigating. I see that a lot. Things that were sitting in front of them, things they didn't test, things like that can, really pisses me off when I watch a lot of true crime stories. And you didn't, like one case, a man's wife, she got hit in the head with a axe, and then there's a footprint on a bag, like somebody was getting ready to load up valuables in a bag. So they said last night in the video, oh, nobody tested the footprint against any of his shoes. Why not? The husband is the first person you look at, and you wouldn't look at any of his shoes, but then you're going to say, oh, there's a picture of him wearing these boat shoes that mimic the shoe print on the bag, but you didn't think to go through any of his shoes and make a cast of his shoes. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
That would have been your smoking gun from the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Right.
You know what? 37 years a person walks free or so. He's remarried several times. And the wife, the newer wife, she was so naive. It was just scary listening to her talk. I know my husband. I know his mind. And I know how he thinks. And you just know your husband. And I was thinking to myself, yeah, did that dead woman know him? How well does she know her husband? Since you know her husband better than she did. Your wife number what, 3? But I know my husband. I know how he thinks. Okay. Well, your husband got arrested for murder many years later, and he's currently incarcerated. There's no such thing as knowing people. It's a myth.
I just think they're still, I seen on John Bonet, they're still investigating all that stuff. Look how many years it's been. And they still haven't found that child. I don't know. Do you remember John Bonet?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you remember they found her in the basement.
Yeah.
But they didn't solve it, allegedly. Some people believe the father and the mother are involved.
That's what I meant, solved it. Yeah, they found her. Yeah, a lot of people do.
Well,
I mean, if they didn't, I don't know why these parents don't get charged for neglect. I mean, they're at another area. Those kids were
well, they basically removed her father as a suspect. If you've kept up with that information.
Yeah.
But if you listen to some people's commentary podcasts, some people believe he and that wife have knowledge.
Yeah.
The link is in the chat if you want to hit the link to join us on this live stream. I'm almost an hour into this live. Yeah. Sue, you okay?
Come on up, somebody.
You're awfully static. Let me take you down and come back up because you got a lot of static going on. Or hit the link from your iPad then.
Okay.
Let's see if that'll work. Okay. Yeah, she's got a lot of static. The link is in the chat if you want to join us. I'm here talking to chat member Sue pertaining to our visit to Ben Hill yesterday.
Hello, can you hear me? Hi.
Hi, Ken. Where are you calling me from?
Where am I calling you from?
Uh-huh.
I live in California.
Okay, welcome from California.
Thank you.
Did you watch my short yesterday, the visit to Ben Hill?
I did not, but I have watched you before. It's been a while, but hey, this is my first time on a live stream.
Okay, well,
I hope I'm doing okay.
Yes, you're good. Well, just give us your thoughts. One of the things we visited there, and I was just giving my synopsis of what the visit was like and the terrain and the way the streets were made, and it was just barren,
Oh,
broke up streets, and I just can't see a person's lying in wait because the way the streets were made, it's just a road where basically only one car can even fit on the road.
hey, yeah, I have seen footage of their home and around their property before, and
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. I do. I think that if somebody did take her, I think it would have been somebody who knew her, and the family may have known, or the mother may have known, because it is kind of a hard place to find. And that, I do agree with you on that.
Well,
That
what
I
do you
don't
think
think
happened
that
to
it
her?
was just some random person driving by, some random bad person, at that, looking
Well,
for a kid.
tell me your thoughts on what you think happened to Summer.
Well, obviously, I don't know for sure. This is just my opinion, but uh, I think that perhaps an accident happened.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how or what or who it involved. I
Mm-hmm.
think
But tell
that
me
an
why.
accident.
Tell me why, with your opinion. Just tell me why you think an accident happened.
Well, because the house was very dangerous. It doesn't seem like they had a lot of supervision, and her parents were both addicts.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of dangerous things. Kids can get hurt any way, any day.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and maybe they freaked out, and it's not an excuse. Like if your kid gets hurt, you call for help. You
Right. Right.
let somebody know.
Right.
I I just Or maybe somebody did take her, but like I said, I think if somebody did take her, it would have been somebody known to them.
Okay.
And if they really wanted to find their daughter, they would put that out there. They would tell everything to law enforcement, even if it made them look bad. You know what
Okay.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like they would just confess, yeah, I've been doing this, I've been involved in this, I've been hanging out with these people. Um, I don't care, even if it made them look bad, or
Yeah.
they were admitting to doing illegal drug. I would, if it were my kid, I would only want my kid back,
Okay.
right?
Right.
But so I don't, but so I think it maybe could have been an accident, or if she was taken, I think it would have been somebody known to them. And if it was that, then it just makes me mad.
Okay. So let's go here.
That little,
Somebody took her.
yeah.
That means then how did they get up to the property? How did they get away? As I told you, when I described to you leaving out of there, you got to make it make
Mm,
sense. How would somebody get her
yeah,
one to where you didn't notice and then get out of there? You have to have a car to get out.
that's true. Right. And that's true. I think that if that did happen, perhaps Candace wasn't awake. Maybe she was passed out,
Mm-hmm.
or you know what I mean?
And what the
I
little girl was
don't.
outside and somebody knocked on the
Yeah,
door and said, Candace
unsupervised.
here.
Right.
And they said she's
Yeah.
asleep. Okay, but if the little
Could have
girl was
been.
in the basement, then how would you have gotten to her if the door's locked from the outside?
Maybe. Well, we don't really know. I mean, that's just what Candace said, that she
Yeah,
was
I
down
know.
there.
But that's why I always
Yeah.
say when you throw those things out there, it don't really matter because you don't even know
Right.
what's the truth when you're talking to people who don't
Right.
appear to be truthful.
And I don't believe a lot of what they say. I don't think I wouldn't trust anything they say. They're obviously, in my opinion, they're both addicts, and um, I'm not trying to like totally shame people who are addicts. I had a parent who was an addict. They weren't a bad person, but but I do think they were, Don. I think the Wills were addicts, and
You can be
so
pushed.
I
You can
don't
be pushed.
trust.
You can be pushed to do things when you're under the influence of drugs.
Yeah, they could be passed
It
out and
happens all
lying
the time.
about, they weren't aware, or who knows? It doesn't make any sense. And
Well, let me ask you
I,
something. What do you
okay.
think the boys know? I'm gonna go down the line. What do you think the boys know?
Hmm.
What do you think Hunter knows? And was Don home?
Well, okay. I don't know if Don was home. I can't speak on that. I feel like I've heard already that he said he was at work. And there's
Yeah.
other people that have said that they don't believe he was, but I haven't myself really seen any evidence that he is lying about that. But that's just me. Maybe there's something I just didn't see that can say that that's not true. That perhaps he wasn't at work. I don't think Hunter knows. I really
Okay.
don't.
Mhm.
I think he would have said something by now. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
The boys. I just feel so bad for them. I really do. I mean, I'm not saying that there couldn't have been an accident, but like I kind of said in one of my comments, like children, they love their parents, even if they're
Boy,
not good parents.
that's true.
Um, I, I just, I really don't know. I'm sorry.
Well, you don't
I
have to
just,
know. It's just I'm just
yeah,
throwing out
no,
the different
right.
theories of
Yeah,
what people have thought. So you believe Donna was
yeah.
told. Do you
No,
believe
I
the
don't think,
children know something as far as that afternoon, as far as if the sister
hmm.
came home, didn't come home? Because I believe they know a whole lot, but naturally, law enforcement is never going to tell us what those
Oh,
people said in
yeah.
connection.
Gosh, I'm just feeling like for me, if I was their age, I would have been so freaked out that I would have squealed if I knew anything. Like at this point, I would have said something to law
Well, they could have. That's my
enforcement.
point. Is that they could have, but we are never
Hmm.
going to know what they told law enforcement
That's
because they are
true.
children. That's the thing. We're never
That
going
is
to know.
true. Yeah, that is true. But you think if they had told them something really significant,
Yeah, it would
that
be an
that
arrest.
right, yeah, right,
But then I
right.
don't know how they navigate over there with Hawkins
I don't
County,
either.
TBI. TBI is involved, which I'm assuming, I don't know if they're really taking the lead or not, but I would assume
I
they would say,
know.
well, you've got enough to at least arrest them because these
Right.
kids say that girl didn't make it back. To me, that's enough for
Right.
an arrest. She
Right.
didn't make it back. Your kids are saying they never saw her again until you called 911.
Yeah, I
And
know.
I
It's
think
just
they have said something because if she came back, those kids would say, "Yeah, we saw her when she got back, but then we
yeah,
were upstairs playing, and at some point we never saw her again."
right. It's just yeah, I it's it's really crazy. I wish that a lot of people we want to know what happened here, and it's just really frustrating that we don't have anything new to go on.
What about Grandis? Do you believe she has knowledge of what happened to Summer?
Mm, I do. I do think she has an idea. I She knows her daughter. I mean, I think she does. I think she knows a little bit or has an idea at least.
Okay.
I don't think she would. Yeah, She's not gonna say anything. She's not gonna get her daughter in trouble. That's my opinion. I mean, I could be
So you don't
wrong,
see
but
Grandis telling on her own child. That what you're saying?
right, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And maybe she wasn't there when it happened. Like, what if there was an accident at the horse pond?
Okay, but you got to
And
remember, Grandis rolled back in the car with them.
yeah, yeah. Was
You got
she
to remember
really
that.
there?
Well, she rolled back in the car with the mother and the child. Is what I'm saying. You wouldn't be
Hmm.
noticing something wrong with the child in the backseat of
That's
the car.
true. No, yeah, you're right about that. That is true. She would have noticed that.
But
Well,
is she the type that she would cover it up because she was never a good mother to Candace? See, we don't really know
no,
how deep this really runs with these
yeah,
people.
it's really kind of a screwed
Yeah,
up family, isn't it?
yeah, it is.
Terrible. I just feel really bad, and yeah. Oh.
Well, let me ask you this: do you believe Donna Wells was assaulting his girl child?
Hmm. Well, let me. I wouldn't be shocked if I heard that he was.
Okay.
I'm not going to say that. I just wouldn't be shocked if he was. There's a lot of perverts out there and everything, and
Mhm.
he doesn't seem. Oh God, I've never been on a live
Well,
stream
everybody knows
before,
what to
so
do.
I'm kind of scared to like
I grill
say
the questions
something bad
because
about
for
somebody.
some of these
Yeah.
things and stuff, so I have to ask the questions because that's the only way you can
No, yeah,
story.
I hit the link, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, you did.
yeah,
So,
I
well,
did.
well, let me ask you this: um, I asked you about his involvement. How much involvement do you believe Don is involved?
I think that he may know, and maybe he helped. Ooh, I think he knows. I think he knows, and
So he was
he
home.
may have helped.
So he
Not
was home.
maybe. I don't even know if he was home or if an accident happened. Candace would have told him, and he would have helped her
So you think he
like
would have helped?
hide her.
Okay.
Yeah,
Human
right.
trafficking. So let's go down it. You think it was an accident.
Okay.
Can you think in your mind human trafficking? Can you see these people trafficking their child for sexual purposes?
Mm, I I don't want to. I do not want to think that they would do that.
Why not?
Um, because they seem like like Candace takes a lot of pictures with her kids. Like it seems to me like she spent a lot of time with them, even though she may have been out of it and she's an addict and everything. That they were always with her. They were her buddies, and
Mm.
I wouldn't think that she would want anybody to, like allow somebody to hurt them with her knowledge, like her hand them. I don't
Even
want
her
to
own
think
husband. Even her own husband. You don't think she would allow her own husband to molest her?
that. Well, I don't know. People are groomed, and I
Well,
don't know what
you
kind of
gotta
abuse
remember
that
one thing
she
about
may have
pictures.
been with. Has she been hurt before? There are people that
Probably.
yeah, that they've been abused themselves, and they don't think clearly about all that. Do you think it's kind of normal, maybe?
Yeah. Well, you got to remember, pictures are just an illusion. Just because people are
Mm-hmm.
dressed nice and the kids got hair bows in their hair, they don't mean that people
Oh,
are their kids, trafficking
tell me
them,
about it.
their mental.
Yes.
You learned this with Lori Valadabel, Ruby Frankie. Videos,
Yep.
pictures don't mean anything.
I completely agree. I see it
They don't
with
mean
on
anything.
my own Facebook pages, people that I know aren't that happy, and
Yeah.
they,
Okay.
yeah,
You're taking a selfie today with your twin boys, and the next day you shot them in the head. There you go.
yeah, right. It's very, I just, I just don't ever want to think that why would she just single one kid out of the rest to,
Really? That's interesting to me. Why?
yeah,
That amazes me.
yeah,
I always wondered what people, why you all think like that. Why do you think? I mean, with all the cases of children being murdered by their families,
I
you find it
know.
strange that she would single out her own girl child. Could it be she was
I don't
jealous?
know.
Could she be jealous
Hey,
because the father? Wait 1 second. The father showing the child more attention. She's noticed that something improprieties, but she don't want to leave him because she doesn't work. She doesn't have any skills. She's also an addict, a drunk. You
yeah.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. It's just maybe because I can't fathom it in my own brain
Okay.
how, you know what I mean? I have kids myself, and I just can't imagine like singling one out to be just completely evil to, but
Okay.
that's just me, you know what I mean? But I know what you mean though. I know that it happens.
You're saying you wouldn't single out one of your children
Oh
to,
no, and I just can't fathom how somebody could do that.
but
But
people do
people
it
are
all the
sick.
time.
Yes, you're right. They're sick people in the world. Right.
Do
Hmm.
you see the children ever reaching out to their parents once they are grown?
I kind of think that maybe not all of them, but I think one or two. I do. I do. I
Okay.
mean, I hope to God that they are getting therapy and counseling and
Right.
things like that. But I mean, kids love their parents, so, they do. And I can see, I would not be surprised if that happened, if I put it that way.
Okay.
Um, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that they're gonna like move back in with them or
Yeah.
anything like that, but I would not be surprised if they reached out to their mom or dad and, you know, tried to
Do you think the boys miss
reconnect.
their parents?
Um,
Do you
I
think
would
they?
hope they wouldn't miss the lifestyle,
Okay.
but maybe they do miss their parents,
Hmm. Yeah.
but not the lifestyle. I'm sure they have a much
Well,
better
I think they've
living
shown us that they
situation.
don't care for their children. The fact that they didn't
Mm,
fight for their children, their boy children,
that's
they didn't
true.
comply with the rules to get them back. So that means to me they weren't worthy of your time, which means they weren't worthy of your time when you had them because you lead by
Yeah,
example. Okay, just
right.
like
They
you
haven't.
see hurting your kids. Well, these people introduce their children to a life of drugs, arguing,
Uh
getting
huh.
drunk, not feeding them properly, not setting up a proper home, property. So
Mm-hmm.
daughter goes
Yeah.
missing. Then the children, 6 weeks later, they're taken by the state for whatever reason, and then you never fight to get them back. And then you go to YouTube to cry and moan and curse and use derogatory language. This is what I always tell people. They were showing you who they are, no past tense.
Right.
They're showing you who
Right.
they are in that moment when they came to YouTube.
Yeah, they didn't follow through with any of the guidelines that CPS or whoever put down for them to try to get their children back. It's obvious they didn't do any of that, and they
Right.
gave up. And
Right.
yeah, that would be hurtful, you would
Yeah, I
think,
don't even
for
think they
them.
tried. I
For
don't think they gave up. I don't
right,
think they tried because you got
right,
to
they
remember
didn't.
these two have history of not raising any of their children for the same abuse allegations before they ever met each other. So, what are the odds the universe will bring two peasants together who have the same
Mm,
background? One's older than the other, and they mesh, and then they go into the world and make children to go back down that same road again. Come on now,
mm.
old
Yeah, it's a
habits die
vicious,
hard.
it's a terrible cycle. It really is.
Yes.
The yeah. I don't know. Very sad.
We had no business having children, period.
No, they don't. They didn't have any business creating a family like that. It's really sad. People do it all the time, though.
Yes, they do.
Terrible. Um,
Do you see this
so
case being solved?
I don't. I
Wow.
do not.
Okay.
It's sad, but I don't. Unless I feel like Candace is the key. Like she'd be the one to have to say something. And
Okay.
um, unless somebody like one of the boys or knows and maybe gets to the courage. I don't know if they do know, but if one of them have the courage one day. But I feel like Dawn probably knows too. I think they know, but I think she is the one who would have. I don't think it's going to be solved unless she's maybe on her deathbed or something. That's just my opinion, and wants to like free herself.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think it will be solved?
I don't know. We're already approaching 4 years, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it'll
I
be a
mean, I
shame if
hope.
next month there's no update, there's no statement, but we're still working on the case. That would be very
Mhm.
disappointing to be 4 years in to only hear we're actively working on the case. It's just sad to me, and I don't want to look up and I'm 10 years older
Yeah,
than what I am, almost 70 years old, still listening to a story about a missing kid from East Tennessee.
I know. It's really terrible. It's not fair. Um, I'm glad you're talking about her still, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's really good of you to do. And you have people who listen to you. And I know there's a lot of people who want her to be found and who care about this and everything. And you do a really good job talking
Thank you. I
about this.
appreciate that.
You're welcome. It's true. You do.
Uh, do you follow the Sebastian Rogers case?
A little bit.
Mhm. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I actually just recently kind of just started getting into it. I know that he's been missing for has it been a year now?
Yes.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I know about it. I know that he disappeared in the middle of the night. He is an autistic teenager,
Hmm.
and a lot of people think that the parents may be involved in that.
Okay. Your thoughts?
Well, okay, I mean, I don't know everything about it. I know people want to, are kind of on the parents about this.
Okay.
I, just from right now, maybe I shouldn't speak on it yet because maybe I don't have enough information, but I have an autistic teenager myself. And I think honestly, did you see the footage of there was flashlights or in the
Yeah.
backyard?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that kind of made me think perhaps he went out to meet somebody and
Hmm.
we're playing around. I don't know if he was online, um, talking in a chat room for like gaming or something like that.
Hmm.
He may have been lured away, but I mean, I don't.
But they can track
I
all that through social media and your phone and your
yeah, you're
data.
right.
So
You're right.
everything's connected to your IP address.
Yes. So they
Unless
would have been able to
you
tell
don't have,
who he's
unless
communicating
you're
with
on a
on
burner
there.
phone.
Yeah. Um,
And I still
I
think you
just
probably can track it through that, I'm assuming too, a burner phone number. So
yeah. It's just really sad. I feel bad. That makes me really sad just because I have, like I said, I have a teenage son on the spectrum as well. I've also,
well, let me ask you,
mhm.
you got a child on the spectrum. Would your child wander off with somebody?
Mm, no, not at this age. I don't think so. But at a younger age, he may have.
Well, how old is your
There
child?
have been a lot of, he is 17 right now.
So you don't think your child would be lured away by somebody online or a friend from school to say, come outside, meet us outside. Your child
Well, yeah,
won't do that.
maybe a friend from school, but not online.
Do you allow your child to be
Yeah.
online?
He does play games online and he has a little community of people that he
Okay.
talks with, but we try to monitor it.
Okay.
We do monitor it. I don't think there's anything bad going on there, but God forbid.
Okay. So
Um,
you think this flashlight business is relevant for
I
kids?
do.
Okay.
I do. I do. I mean, we don't even know if that was really him though, right?
They're not saying that it's relevant.
Oh, they're saying it's not relevant.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think, well, he left his shoes behind, and the dad was gone away, or the stepdad was away at work, and they confirmed that, right? Didn't they?
He allegedly he was out of town.
Right. What are your thoughts? I'm sorry, I haven't watched any of your
I think the mother and stepfather are involved in the
content.
disappearance of the child.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, that's really sad if that's true. That just breaks
Mhm.
my heart. I'm sorry. I wish I knew more to talk about it with you, but
But that's okay. I just don't. I
it
just threw it
just,
out there. I didn't know if
yeah,
you followed it or not.
right. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just starting to kind of look into it a little
Well,
bit.
if you do any background, you're going to see that the similarities are the same with the Summer Wells case. Each
Oh,
father,
okay.
excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, came to YouTube
No,
to
bless
talk,
you.
but the mother
God
is
bless you.
quiet, which is very similar. Candace didn't have much to say to
Mm,
YouTube. The mother, she don't have nothing to say to YouTube, but yet her husband is a stepfather. He's all on YouTube panels, hopping last year, talking crazy,
right.
like Don
When
Webb.
he
It's too
supposedly wasn't
similar.
even there.
Right.
Yeah,
So
which is
exactly. Both
weird.
cases they're not supposed to be there, but you're the ones on
Right.
social media talking. Why don't you go talk to the news? The news is who you need to talk to.
Exactly.
YouTube is not the place you need to be
Yeah.
talking to people about a missing
That's
kid. You should be talking to the local news, Dateline, Oxygen. That's who you should be talking to, not YouTubers.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of weird people in the world that you don't know why they do the things they do. Like why they would choose
It's
to
for
like go to
attention,
YouTube
obviously.
instead of law enforcement or on the
Yeah, but it's
news.
for attention. Think about it. Your child is
Right.
missing, and
Yeah.
your only priority is worrying about what people are saying about you on social media. How is that relevant
Yeah.
to a missing kid? What I think of you.
Yeah.
Do you care about what I
I
think of
mean,
you or what somebody else thinks of you? Who
no,
cares?
I wouldn't. Right. I mean, the only reason I would go on social media if I had a situation like them is to maybe have more people aware of what's going on,
Right.
but that wouldn't be like I wouldn't give a crap what anyone thought of me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
then you're not,
I
and then
just
you
want
weren't
my
there. So
kids
what
found.
so what so what
Right.
relevance
What? Yeah.
what relevance do you have to bring to the story when you are allegedly were not present when the child went missing.
Exactly.
You don't
Yeah,
have
why are
any.
you even speaking? You weren't home. You don't even know what happened. You weren't here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe they're both involved.
Oh man. Well, I really hope they find him,
Yeah.
and I hope they find Summer. Um, I've heard of I mean, I'm not trying to defend anybody. I'm just saying that I've heard of kids that have run off and like gotten stuck, or have you ever heard of that kid who ran off and he went into an abandoned home and he went down a chimney and he got stuck in there and they
Yeah,
didn't
up north,
find him.
Ohio or whatever.
Yeah, they didn't find him for a few years. And maybe I'm just saying that maybe could be a
Okay.
possibility.
But I want you to think about that. You would smell in a chimney, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. You'd smell it outside,
Exactly.
probably.
Exactly. Even
Hmm.
walking by, you still would smell death.
Hmm. Of course. Yeah, I
Mhm.
could smell like a cat hoarder's house from walking past, you know? Yeah.
Anything else, Miss Chaparita?
Oh, I don't think so, but thank you for allowing me to come
You're
on. It's
welcome.
really nice to talk
Anytime.
to you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. Well, you have a good night and have a
Okay,
good
you too. Be
weekend. And
careful. Be
and
careful
if
out
you're
there in
still good,
California.
I will. Thank you. And I'll be in the chat until you're done. Thank
Okay, thank
you.
you, sweetheart. You're welcome.
Okay. Take
All right,
care. Good
everybody.
night.
Welcome. Good night. All right, everybody. So she believes it was possibly an accident. She hasn't followed the Sebastian story too much. Sue jumped down. The link is in the chat. I'm not going to stay on too much longer. I'm an hour and 21 minutes into this live. But when you look at both cases, they are eerily similar. Some have said they believe that Proudfoot's piggybacked off of the Wells case, but they are similar. You have a male figure in the house that allegedly wasn't home when the disappearance of the child took place. You have no evidence that a child made it home. You don't know that Summer made it home. You don't know that Sebastian made it home. You have allegations of abuse, DHS involvement, a lot of he said, she said, flashlights, screams. Each case got a little something extra. I heard this, I saw this, but no verification from law enforcement to say, yeah, this is true, yeah, this is valid. Okay? A scream in the Summer case, flashlight in this case. But each law enforcement is saying, they're not relevant. You're entitled to your opinion. But the one thing we do know is that these children are missing. And I think there was suspicious and nefarious business going on in the houses of each. I don't think the child was vibing well, the Wells child. I don't think she was being taken care of properly, she and her brothers. That's self-evident once you see the house, the property. It doesn't matter where you're from. It don't matter if you're poor, middle class. There's a way of carrying yourself. There's a way of acting, keeping yourself clean, washing your hair, cutting your hair, keeping your property clean, keeping your house clean, having the basic necessities. You don't have to be wealthy to have the basics and act like you care about yourself. That's just common sense. Many people grew up poor in America. There are still poor people in America. But damn, take care of yourself. Take care of your kids. And we learned that with that case. Those people didn't care anything but spending their money on beer and drugs. They didn't care about their house, the property. Not a place for kids to be playing with a bunch of junk cars on the property, all type of debris, just trifling. Then you lose the boys after your daughter goes missing. You don't even fight to get them back. Why not? It's just ridiculous. Then we have Sebastian's case. I don't think the mother was vibing well with Mr. Seth. They have their own, wicked history with each other when they were married. She moves on to get with this Chris guy. He's no morning star at all. He's just like Don. Just in your face, vulgar, want to be seen. And that's bizarre to me when you're talking about a missing kid and you weren't there allegedly when the child went missing. The similarities are too scary. Both in Tennessee, both father figures in your face want to be on YouTube, but not the news. Why not? Why the mothers don't want to talk to the news regular? That's bizarre. You have a whole missing kid. You're supposed to be putting flyers out. Like one guy was saying, he has a YouTube channel, I can't think of his name. He's a deception detective or something. He was saying, he was showing one mother whose child was missing. She had a t-shirt on with the child's name, date, height, weight. That's what you're supposed to do, is advocate for your kid. You're on the news. You want people to see, this is my kid, blonde hair, blue eyes, whatever. This is her height. She's missing. You're advocating. You people don't even want to talk to the news. Why not? Then when you're on the news, you ain't showing nothing. Why not? Vigils for your kids. You don't even show up. Why not? Running off the Dr. Phil show. Why? See, that is behavior that is asinine to me. This is your kid. This isn't a cartoon character. This is a real kid missing. This is your kid. You brought this kid here. You act like you're too scared to give just a couple of minute interview to the radio or the news about your kid. You're waiting until there's an anniversary. Then you want to talk and make up stuff. And, he would do this and I'd fall on the floor if I saw him. And, all of this. You're supposed to be on the radio. You should be going around the country speaking to people about what to do to keep your house safe, your home safe. Your motorcycle shopping, as somebody said, the day that there was a vigil for Sebastian, if that's true. See, that's shit you don't supposed to be doing. But that shows me they don't care for the kid. They don't care for the kid. So instead of me being at a vigil for my kid, I'm looking at fucking Harley Davidsons. Why? Fuck a motorcycle. Excuse my language, but fuck a motorcycle. Your kid is missing. It don't matter if you don't get along with Seth or not. That's your kid. You brought him here. I think this woman's been wanting to be free of that boy for a long time. And you see this a lot with people with kids. They're never going to tell you the truth. I've been tired of this kid. I've been done with this kid, autistic or not, because a lot of kids go missing and dead, and they're not autistic. They're not bipolar. They don't have nothing wrong with them. The parents just don't want to be fucking bothered. And a lot of you can't accept that. Why? I don't know. Some of you probably out here got parents that want to be bothered with you. You're not going to tell the world that, are you? Yeah, I had a horrible mother, I had a horrible father. They acted like they loved me, but really they didn't. Because that's a horrible thing to have to say about your own damn parent. They really weren't in tune to me. But we have people who are not in tune to child rearing. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you decide, okay, this isn't for me, then you need to make the necessary provisions with your kid. But to keep raising them knowing you really don't want to be a parent is a dumbass idea. Once again, having another kid is a dumbass idea. And you see this every day. Just spitting them out like Skittles. Like you put a quarter in the machine at the grocery store and you get a gumball out. You chew it up, you chew it for a minute. I really don't like blue. Spit it out, put another quarter in. Yeah, I'm going there. Because that's what I'm seeing with a lot of Americans in child rearing. It's a gumball effect. Put a quarter in, get a yellow gumball, don't want it. Put another quarter in, get another one, get a blue, I don't want that. Put another quarter in, get a red one. You see where I'm going? Until before you know it, you got a bunch of chewed up gumballs lying on the floor. Checkmate. Children are not candy, toys, puppets. They're real people with real feelings, okay? And at any point when you realize motherhood, fatherhood is not for you, that means you need to keep your legs closed and use birth control pills. Put a condom on or abstain. But to keep procreating is vile. It's vile as hell. Sue Lawson. Sue. Now Sue's up here, she ain't saying nothing. Sue, are you there? I don't know what she's doing. But yeah, I get sick of these cases. Hello, everybody in the chat. Just get told. All these stories, they're the same. Everybody's got an excuse. I'm not doing excuses. Because we got to stop doing that. We got to quit making excuses for why we do the stupid shit that we do. We have got to start owning our shit. It's just life. I made a mistake. That's it. Say it. Be done with it. You don't want to be a parent? Don't have kids. You have the child, it's not working, get some therapy. It's still not working out, then make provisions to place your child with somebody else. And then that's the sad part. There's no guarantee that the child's going to fare any better at the next place, which we've learned that with child, DHS placements, adoption, kids being shuffled around from place to place. It's a cruel world. But I don't feel anything for people that keep having kids and they know they don't want to be a parent. Makes no sense. Sue Lawson, what are you doing? She's not saying anything. I don't know what's going on with Sue. But it gets old. All the stories are the same. Every day. White, black, Hispanic, foreigners. I'm sick of the stories. I'm over it. I'm damn over it. Hello? Sue Lawson? Hello? Sue, you're on the screen. You got to talk. Lord have mercy. I don't know what Sue's doing. Yes, it's very cruel. And we got to stop. As I said,
Can you hear me?
Honey, I've been hollering for the longest. Yes, I can hear you. Hello? Lord. Sue and modern technology is not working. That's my feeling. It's just I'm tired of excuses. That's why I don't like talking about children's stories, because it's just redundant to me. All these people walking around with these fake.
Can you hear me?
I've been calling you for 10 minutes. Sue. Oh my goodness. You can't hold a conversation with other people and then try to talk on the live, girl. I don't know what's going on.
I'm trying. Can you hear me? Can you hear
If you
me?
talk, we can hear you. You won't talk. You got to talk. What are you taking a bath?
Just a minute, Queen.
Oh my God. She's probably fumbling around with a damn cigarette. Lord Jesus. Well, that's all I got to say. It was an interesting trip, and it just confirmed everything I had already thought pertaining to Summer Wells on that trip yesterday. Everything was confirmed in my book. Nobody came and got her. I don't think anyone came and got her. Anybody took her. Anybody was wandering around. I'm telling you, back up in there, it's a place you wouldn't even want to be driving. On a main road, maybe. The road that's got the yellow lines in the middle. Yeah, but not back up on that road where they live. Hell no. You don't want to be back up in there. Yes, Miss Chaparita, you are welcome to come back anytime. Sue Lawson, what's going on with you in this device? Sue, I'm getting ready. Let me call this woman because this is getting ridiculous now. Woo. I guess Sue needs to go back to the days on landlines. Damn. If the Wi-Fi at the hotel's not doing no good. Lord have mercy, honey. You and this phone.
I'm trying to get the voice back on.
Well, don't worry about it. Let it go. Say what you're going to have to say, then I'm going to check out of here so everybody can have a good night.
I'm sorry. Did I?
No, I said say what you got to say before I check out of here.
I know, but I can't get the voice mix.
You're not listening. You're talking to me on your phone. So say what you have to say on the phone, dear. Don't worry about the iPad. We're past that now. Okay. Jesus wept. Why? I'm trying to understand, why is everybody having such a hard time with the phones and technology? It's baffling to me. I thought I didn't know nothing about computers. Lord Jesus.
All right, I'll try it again.
You're not listening. You're on the phone talking. Just talk on your phone now.
Okay.
Don't worry about the iPad. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Just talk on the phone.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. If you want to finish saying what you would like to say before I check out of here, ma'am, because I've been trying to get you to speak for 10 minutes now.
I know, and I kept messing with it.
Okay, so what's somebody say? Mary Scout said you both were very brave. Oh, Mary Scout, thank you. Sue, y'all can hear you. Yes, it's like, I don't know why she can't understand. She's on her own phone asking, can I hear her? Just talk in your phone as if we are not on a live. So, do you have anything else, ma'am, that you would like to add pertaining to the visit yesterday up there in Hillbilly Alley?
No, I just wish they could find Summer. Okay. That's all.
That's it. Do you have anything you'd like to add pertaining to the Sebastian Rogers case?
Well, to be honest with you, I haven't been following that too well.
Okay, well, that's okay.
But am I here so they can still hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay.
They can hear you in Japan. They can hear you in New York City. They can hear you in the hotel where you're at. They can hear you.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm a slow learner.
Well, you know what? This is a good reason why maybe you don't need to be on no social media app. Because we don't want no incidents occurring with you on that social media app. No, I'm serious.
So this first time I've been on YouTube.
Okay, so you never hit a link before?
No.
Okay, so
you taught me today.
Okay, so they can hear you because I've got the computer on, and then you're talking to me on your phone, so they can hear everything that you're saying. You don't know much about the Sebastian Rogers case. You are hoping that there's a resolution in Summer's case.
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you this: will you be going back up there to visit again?
I don't know if up on Ben Hill, but I think I might go to the Warriors Park next time.
It's where you were trying to go in the first place. You want to go to the infamous Warriors Path.
Yes.
Okay. And why do you want to go there, Sue?
I don't know, just to bring them, bring her flowers or something, and just be at the present place where she was last seen too.
Okay.
So,
do you think she had a drowning there, or a dry drowning, as some people suspected?
I don't know. I'm torn between being sold and an accident, and that's a big gap.
Okay.
Some days I say, yes, they did sell her. And then the next day I say, well, maybe it was an accident. Okay. I don't know.
Okay. Let me ask you this, because a lot of people have, different theories on what they think happened to her. Imagine Summer is alive and with a family who knows that she's missing, knew that there was an Amber Alert, know that it still is an active Amber Alert, and never turned her over to authorities. So what are they doing with her exactly? Let's just say hypothetical. She's being taken care of, and could it be that they would be stupid enough to put her into a school knowing that she's missing? Because we've heard these stories of children that were kidnapped from the infirmary, and the mother somehow ended up putting them in the school. How, I don't know, but we've heard the stories. And she's walking around here on a poster missing, but she's walking around somewhere else as another kid's name. Could you see that?
I can see it. Actually, I wish that's what happened, but I don't know.
But think about what you're saying. People would say, well, if she was in a better place, Queen, I'd feel good about that. But how could you feel good about a person willingly knowing that a child is missing, and you're not being truthful with turning them over to authorities?
Yeah. Well, they'd probably get in a lot of trouble now.
Of course you would, because one, you'd have to prove how you got a custody of her. And the Wells would never tell the truth. Yeah, we sold the kid, we gave the kid to them. And then the people are going to say, authorities will say, you mean to tell me you never heard that this little kid was missing from East Tennessee? You never heard. Well, how did you come in contact with the Wells? You had to have contact because they're from Tennessee. So how would you not have heard the little girl was missing? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Because I think a lot of people want to believe that she's whisked away to some great house, with a big old fancy house with some great, awesome parents that are taking care of her. But what you have to always tell yourself, what type of human buys another human? So you buying a kid is really no different than somebody buying a kid for nefarious reasons. Now, some might disagree with me and say, well, Queen, they're buying her for good reasons, but that's still against the law to buy a human.
Yeah, it is. It's not illegal.
No, it's not legal.
I don't know.
And then let's say this. Let's say she's alive. Authorities finally find her. Then they arrest these parents, go through the legal process. Then where does Summer go? I always tell people to think about what you ask for. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people pray and say this. I've seen this with Sebastian. I've seen this with Summer. I've seen this with every missing person, child. What is the one thing you all always pray for? I want her home. I want him home. I would tell you, be careful what you wish for. There's a reason they're gone in the first place. So you're praying for a child to go where? Stay woke. And nobody thinks about that when they say it. I'm praying for her to go home. I'm praying for her to come home. Did you see her home? So what are you actually praying for? You mean you're praying that she's alive, but the flip side is if she is alive, she's going into foster care. Same thing with Sebastian. More than likely, if he's alive, that's where he possibly would go until they make a decision if he could go back to the mother's house or the father's house and get an understanding how he got to the place where he is if he is alive. So see, it's a catch-22.
Mm-hmm. I don't want her going. If she's alive, I don't want her going back to that house.
Yeah. So she would be just like her brother. She'd be going into foster care. Yep. Another dirty system. And if a lot of people didn't know, Tennessee doesn't have anywhere to house children. They're now sending children out of state. So let's say you're trying to fight for your rights of your child, right? You lose custody. How are you going to fight for the rights of your child if your child is, let's say, in Alabama, Louisiana, Georgia? You understand what I'm saying? How is that working? How's that going to work? Let's say you want to see your child, but you don't have the funds to go see your kid and meet your kid, let's say at a DHS office in Georgia. Now you're going to do what? They're going to allow you to Skype with the kid, video chat with the kid. So see, that's something a lot of people don't even know about Tennessee right now. They don't have anywhere to house children. So a couple months ago, they have decided to start shipping children out of state.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yes. There's nowhere to house the children here in the state. So they're shipping children out of the state of Tennessee to other jurisdictions. That's a dangerous situation because my thing is, how do I know the other state or also Tennessee are going to follow the appropriate protocol with the current parent so they can try to get their kid back? Because what did I say? Out of sight is out of mind.
Mm-hmm. Long distance.
Mm-hmm.
just don't know all the answers, I guess.
Yeah. And I also wonder where the boys were when they first got put into custody. Remember, we heard something from the Wells that it was too far to drive to see their children. That should tell you something right there. What is far? 2 hours? 3? 6?
Well,
You could drive out that holler to the Dollar Tree and go to the Dollar General to get beer and dollar pizzas, but you can't drive to see your damn kids. They won't. What did I tell you about? I'm sorry, go ahead.
It wouldn't matter how far I would go, but they just couldn't do what is it?
They didn't want to.
DCF, yeah.
They didn't want to. Not couldn't. They had cars to go wherever they wanted to go. These people have traveled out of the area to Utah, down past Memphis, Arkansas. So if you go to Arkansas, you can go visit your kids. Remember they went to work a year or two ago, out of town to work. So you go out of town to work, but you can't go see your kids. They won't. So I tell people to pay attention to what they say on them live streams. This is how you know the whales never cared for anybody. They're selfish beings. They have told on themselves that they don't care about anything but they're self-serving creatures. All they care is about getting high and getting drunk. You can drive to Utah. You can drive out of town, but you can't go drive to see your fucking kids. Come on. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Pretty sad.
Yeah, it's sad. You're sitting here at a hotel, somebody's filming you, YouTuber going down there being nosy, stalking them down there, but yet, oh, it's too far to go drive and see my kids. I knew they weren't going to get custody of their kids. I knew they weren't because I knew they were never going to comply with getting their kids. I knew that.
Yep. I thought that too before.
Yeah.
It worked out.
Yeah, they weren't going to do what they needed to do to retain custody of those children. You've already got one missing. So imagine that. One's missing and then you got 3. You won't even drive to see your children and then follow the rules they want you to get your children back. So that means you didn't want the damn kids. So that leads me to believe you weren't doing right by them in the first damn place. So you got 4 kids gone. Well, because you didn't want them. Bottom line.
Yeah, they had 2 other kids prior to Candace did.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And Don had issues with his wife and his children.
Unbelievable.
And so don't you find it strange or ironic these 2 people would meet, the universe would bring them together to go back down the same path with their children that they made together? What are the odds of that? Because old habits die hard. They didn't do right by their kids before. They meet other people. They repeat the same scenario. They're just misfits. As old as Candace is, she should want better for herself. As old as Don is, he should want better for himself. And when you look at them, they're like oil and water. She's a younger woman. He's an older man. But then she's masculine, which is very bizarre. A man being attracted to a masculine woman, which she would probably look more feminine when she was younger with the longer hair. But you can see she wasn't really into, getting her nails done, makeup. But he saw something in her, which tells me he didn't really want anything and she didn't either. But that was their choice to choose each other.
Yeah.
But neither one was, as I call them, morning stars, if you get my drift.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
You're so cute.
You know what I'm saying? A woman wearing boy shorts, T-shirts, socks, and flip-flops when she met Chris Madonna over there at that pond. And I'm just sitting here looking like, what the hell am I looking at?
She didn't have a bra on either.
I mean, but she don't like wearing bras. I mean, that's her thing. She's not a bra wearer.
Yep.
God forbid she don't wear underwear either. But, it's neither here nor there. But I'm just saying, that's what he is attracted to, obviously. Because what man doesn't like eye candy? I'm not, as a man, going to walk around with a woman that looks like me. Okay?
No.
If I was a guy, I'd want eye candy. I want something that looks like a gal. Because I don't want to be walking down the street and somebody's like, hey, who's your buddy? You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's my wife. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's just not a good look.
Well, maybe when it gets June 15th, they'll have something for us.
Well, I hope
some
so.
more to
I hope so.
try to figure out.
Yeah. Somebody said, let's be honest, she loved like she wanted to dress like a boy. And that's possibly the reason why her child ended up having a shaved head. I'm a boy, so I want my girl to be a boy.
That could be.
I prefer boys. I've had nothing but boys. I don't really want a girl. Shave all her hair off, make her look like a boy. And I'm sure at some point, Summer was probably wearing boy clothes. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, you looked at the pictures where she had that little red dress on.
Yeah.
In front of that
The hair
Christmas
bow.
tree.
Yeah. Pretty picture.
You could see how she was going down,
Mm-hmm.
in those pictures.
Mm-hmm. When Leslie cut her hair and then it was shaved in the back and one side longer, then she said, oh, well, we just cut it off to even it up because she'd been messing with her hair. And I thought, I don't know what's the truth, because when you look at her hair shaved in the back, I mean, I really couldn't see the back, but I refuse to believe Summer Wells went back there shaving her hair with hair clippers.
No, some people say lice, but I don't know.
Well,
but that's sad.
Let me ask you this, and then I'll check out of here. Do you believe that Candace was jealous of her girl child?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay. Why? Because she was pretty?
Yeah, well, according to Don, he said that she only wanted me. Just the way he talked about her.
Yeah.
Yeah. As he was talking about.
And that's not something you would say on the news either. That's why I said there's more to the story. Because everybody in these cases, from Sebastian to this case, especially both, each male says things that's just inappropriate to say to the news and to the public. Your child is missing. Why are you alienating the mother?
Yeah.
That's alienation. And you're sending that message to the universe. So I can see a mother being resentful. I got a beautiful daughter. She's pretty, prettier than me. My husband is doting on her 24/7. She's always wanted to be under the father, but she may have been only wanted to be under the father because maybe the mother didn't take up with her as a mother should have when she gave birth. So she navigated towards Don because that's the only parent she had that was maybe receptive to her.
Yeah, she felt rejected from Candace.
Probably so, yeah. Because Candace doesn't know how to bond, with her children. She probably bonded a little more, better with the boys because maybe to some degree, or as we have seen with her appearance, she's boyish, manly in nature.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a scary thought.
But so is her mother.
And that's what I'm saying. So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You have a masculine mother. You come out masculine, but you're steady having sex with men, which is kind of weird. But you do have women who are masculine, but they do like men. And then poof, voila, last set of kids, that girl child goes missing. Don't know why. And then your 3 boys, they're in the state's care. And then after that, it's like she got more masculine by the minute. It was just like, what the hell are we looking at here?
I know.
The baseball caps and stuff. And I was just like, man, this is drastic. And I just can't see being a man wanting to walk around with a woman like that. I just couldn't do it as a man. So that made me question his sexuality.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they're bisexual. I don't know.
Maybe Don's got a little sugar in his tank.
Oh, I know he does. Red panties.
What? What did you say?
Didn't you hear when he was arrested for sneaking in somebody's house and stealing women's panties.
Stealing panties?
Yeah, women's pants. He got arrested for that.
Okay, so that would not shock me, a sadist stealing underwear, but all that goes in with peeping, voyeurism, and also sexual assault.
Yeah, he admitted it.
Stair step. So he likes stealing women's panties. Okay, well, I was trying to figure out where you were trying to take this. I thought you was trying to say what he likes putting the panties on.
No, I don't know.
God, you're crazy.
No. He told the police officer that he stole them for pleasure.
Okay, so he likes probably the feel of the panties, which we've heard men trying them on, and they like the feel of them. But I'm not here to say he tried them on. We're getting a little bit deep into the hole now, but just saying, I could see some feminine tendencies from him due to the fact he's attracted to this woman who's masculine. And then we also know that he's been to prison, and we know what goes on in prisons. I mean, not every man is sexually assaulted or decides to be with a man, but I'm also wondering that, and that's something I've really never talked about on the network much, if Don is also bisexual. Could he be possibly bisexual?
I don't know, he's everything.
He's what?
Everything.
Oh my God. I'm every woman. It's all in me. Wow. Damn, Sue. Can you imagine that? She's wearing the boxers and he's wearing the panties. Okay. I'm dead, Satan. On that note, I'm out of here. Sue, I will be talking to you shortly.
All right.
Thanks for joining me, sweetie.
Bye, everybody.
All right, everybody. That's Miss Sue. I want to stop right there on that note because we're about to go deep belly in the beast. We'll save that content for another day. I'm almost 2 hours into this live. I want to thank you all for joining me. Welcome all new viewers and subscribers. Follow the Queen on the Newsbreak app where I give more commentary. I've been a little bit behind in my commentary the past couple of days because today I had to go do a biopsy at the hospital and it was really grueling. Got stuck about 6 times. Naturally, the first time to numb me. Then they had to do 5 needle sticks to get cells out to test. And it was supposed to be 3, but then flip side is if they don't get enough cells, they have to do it 3 more times. So he came back in and said, hey, the pathologist needs 2 more times. And let me tell you, those last 2 sticks, I could actually feel the needle. I was like, okay, wait a minute. I am feeling both of these needles. This is getting a little bit too much. I can say when I came off that table, I almost passed out because I couldn't even stand up. I was so dizzy from lying flat back, but I made it through. I rested most of the day because I wasn't feeling the best. But I want to thank you all for your prayers and your kind words. I want to thank Miss Sue for coming to Tennessee, bringing me some really lovely gifts. Feel free to check my community page to see the gifts that she brought me. I'm glad we got to meet. She's a really lovely lady. And I'll be bringing you more stimulating content, commentary pertaining to breaking news. I will be bringing you an update tomorrow if I'm feeling better pertaining to Smokey Robinson, Sean Puffy Combs. They've got 40-something jury members selected for Sean's trial, but they don't have everyone seated. They've gotten rid of one woman because she basically said she didn't want to be on the jury, which I respect her for being truthful and telling them and not wasting the state's and the defense's time. So thank that lady for saying, hey, I don't want to do this. So she did the right thing. But I'm going to bring you an update pertaining to Smokey Robinson. He's denying all charges from the housekeepers of sexual assault, kidnapping, hostile work environment, sexual battery. Oh, God, I'm getting winded. Who else? Korberger. More nonsense with that. His family will be allowed in the court. So this is a little tricky situation of them hearing information because naturally they don't want people to hear information when they're also going to be witnesses. So I do believe they will be testifying to parents. What will they have to say? Parents, sister. Naturally, the victims, their families will be in the courtroom and also possible witnesses in the upcoming Kohlberger trial, which is scheduled for August. And naturally, his defense wants to try to delay, but hey, they're letting her know. They're letting Annie know, no more delays. We're going forward this summer, so you're either ready or you're not. And there's probably a few more updates pertaining to Kohlberger while I was listening to, and I'll put them in shorts. So look forward to seeing some shorts tomorrow in the YouTube queue. And I'm trying to think of something else. I saw something else. I think Serena and her husband are getting a divorce. I saw an update that said something about them dividing their $450 million estate or something. And I thought, oh God, don't tell me they're getting a divorce. So I'll be bringing you an update pertaining to her as well. I'm trying to think of some other ones. But I'll be back a little bit later. But I thank you all for coming on. Thank you for the guests that came on this live stream. And feel free to go back and check my shorts and my pertaining to the visit to Ben Hill Road and our discussion, Sue and myself talking about the trip up there and just our thoughts on the case. Once again, I do believe there's foul play. I do not believe the child's alive. And I do believe the parents have knowledge of what happened to her. And I feel the same in the Sebastian Rogers case. That's my commentary. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $DeGanji129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. I'll also try to put up a movie for the weekend. For those of you who might be staying in, not going anywhere this weekend, this is the coolest May I have ever seen in almost 30 years. I have never seen a May this chilly in East Tennessee because I moved in the month of May for years. So this is just like so weird how chilly it is here. But I don't know what summer is going to be like. If it's going to be a real hot summer or is it going to be a cool summer, but we will see. And thank you, Sue, for my gifts. I'm looking at my little crystal light. It's sitting under my TV. And naturally it glows, when it's dark in the room. And I'm just in love with this crystal ball, honey. I just stared at this thing when I first got home and turned all the lights off and turned it on. And now that it's dark in the apartment, I've got it on. And I'm just in love with this crystal ball, honey. Maybe I can go over and rub it and see if I can say, hey, what's my future going to bring? Anyway, I'll give you all an update pertaining to the results from the biopsy. When I get the results back, I will share those with the audience. And once again, thank you all for tuning into this network. Please be safe, everybody. If you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution and not the problem. Mind the children. Just be aware of your faculties, everybody. And as for that situation I discussed with you all last week with the neighbor and the kids and all that arguing, and when I was lying down in the bed, I could hear the little boy coming in. So obviously that dizzy-ass girl is back over there visiting the guy with her kids. And I'm not getting involved in that. If somebody else wants to get involved, I will not, because I've got too much going on with myself. And like I said, as I told somebody else, if they want to get involved and report these people, they can feel free. But I just don't want to get involved because I don't want to be going to court. I just don't want to get wrapped up in that because I have to live here. So, I always have to think about where I live. But the point is, they both like the drama. Because after last week's events, my thing is, why are you bringing that girl back over here to your apartment? You all were just in there fussing and fighting last Sunday, tearing up stuff, scaring your kids. And then I hear you all at the door earlier today, and the little boy just started crying in there, just crying. I don't know what was wrong with him, but I mind my own business and left it be because it's not my concern. But if I hear anything nefarious, I won't come out the door. I won't say anything. Of course, I would call 911, but I wouldn't come out like I did a week ago. And I don't know what happened when they got there, but I heard the girl saying to him, I heard him say something like, I don't really know what's going on. And then she said something like, go ask that lady. So I think she was talking about me. So I don't know what they were talking about, but it's when he opened his door. I don't know what could have happened. I don't know if he got a notice in his door or whatever, because they put notices on the outside of our apartment number when they have to give you mail for something important. So I don't know what happened when they opened her door, but I heard him say, I don't know what's going on. And then she said, well, go ask that lady. So I'm assuming she was talking about me. I don't really care. I don't have anything to say to them, and I'll let both of them know. I don't do street drama, and I definitely don't do drama when it comes to children. So you stay out of my way, I'll stay out of yours. And that's just how I'm looking at it right now. And this is why I preach what I preach on this network. I'm just so sick of these kid stories. I'm sick of people abusing kids. I'm sick of people being addicts with children. I'm sick of people, fussing and fighting around their damn kids, mistreating their kids. Just like I was looking at the Dynamic Reason channel, the title of his video he uploaded, I think today, it said something about a couple beating up a 3-month-old baby. Exactly. How do you beat up a 3-month-old baby? This is bullshit. How do you beat up a 3-month-old? So this goes back to what I said earlier. You don't want to raise the kid, then you need to make provisions to get that child out of your custody. Bottom line. And then don't have no more damn kids. Keep your legs closed, abstain. But your ass is foul to beat up any child. I don't care if it's a newborn, it's a toddler, they're 8 years old, they're 17. It's still your kid. And it is a kid. And nobody has any reason to be beating up on kids, sexually assaulting children, selling their children, neglecting their children, cursing their children. Enough is enough. And I can't have no respect for you. Not now, not never. Because it's uncalled for. That's my commentary. You all have a wonderful weekend. You have been listening to the Vault XL